The rain had started just minutes before Nathan Carter stepped into the small candlelit restaurant in downtown Boston, United States. It wasn't the kind of rain that fell gently and romantic. It was heavy, relentless, almost as if the sky itself had decided to cry. Nathan stood near the entrance for a moment, shaking the water from his jacket, trying to calm the storm inside his chest that had nothing to do with the weather. It had been 3 years since his wife passed away, leaving him to raise his 6-year-old daughter, Clara, alone. 3 long years of sleepless nights, school lunches, hospital visits when Clara caught the flu, and quiet evenings where the house felt too big and too silent. Tonight was supposed to be different. Tonight was supposed to be the first step towards something new. Nathan had finally agreed to go on a date with a woman he met through a mutual friend. Her name was Rachel, and she seemed kind, patient, and understanding about his life as a single dad. He checked his watch. 7:10 p.m. The date was at 7. Nathan sat down at the table reserved under his name, the candle flickering softly between 2 empty chairs. He kept glancing toward the door every time it opened, hoping to see Rachel walk in. Instead, strangers entered. Laughing couples, busy professionals, families enjoying dinner together. Each time the door closed again, his hope dimmed just a little more. But before we continue this emotional story, take a moment to support the channel. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us how powerful compassion can be, please like this video, share it with someone who loves heartfelt stories, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more inspiring stories like this to life. Nathan tried to stay optimistic. Maybe Rachel was stuck in traffic. Maybe her phone died. Maybe something unexpected happened. Life was unpredictable. Nathan knew that better than anyone. Another 10 minutes passed. Then 20. By 7:40, the waiter approached him gently, the kind look in his eyes saying more than words ever could. Nathan forced a small smile and ordered a coffee instead of dinner. He didn't want to admit to himself what was becoming obvious. She wasn't coming. The embarrassment burned quietly inside him. It wasn't just about being stood up. It was about how hard it had been to even say yes to the date in the first place. For years, Nathan had lived entirely for Clara. His mornings started at 5:30 a.m., preparing breakfast and packing her school bag. His days were spent working as a maintenance supervisor at a hospital. His evenings were filled with bedtime stories, homework help, and trying to stretch every dollar so Clara never felt like she was missing anything. Dating had felt impossible, but his friends kept telling him he deserved happiness too. Now, sitting alone in the restaurant with a cooling cup of coffee and an empty chair across from him, Nathan wondered if they had been wrong. He stared down at his phone, considering whether to text Rachel or simply leave and forget the whole thing ever happened. That was when the door of the restaurant opened again, but this time, something about the moment felt different. The entire room seemed to shift. A tall woman walked in, dressed in a sharp navy coat, her presence commanding quiet attention without demanding it. Her posture was confident, her expression calm yet focused. People glanced up as she passed, whispering quietly. Her name was Victoria Hayes. Most people in Boston knew that name. Victoria was the CEO of Hayes Medical Innovations, a rapidly growing healthcare company that had been making headlines for transforming hospital technology across the country. Nathan didn't recognize her immediately. To him, she was simply another stranger entering the restaurant on a rainy night. The host greeted her, but after a brief conversation, Victoria looked around the dining room and noticed something unusual. Every table was full except one, Nathan's table. She walked toward it with measured steps. Nathan looked up in confusion as the elegant woman stopped beside him. The waiter rushed over nervously, explaining there had been a reservation mistake and that the restaurant had accidentally overbooked. Victoria could wait 20 minutes for another table, or she could share this one temporarily if Nathan didn't mind. Nathan hesitated. Sharing a table with a stranger wasn't exactly how he imagined this evening ending. But something about Victoria's calm expression made it hard to say no. He nodded politely. Victoria thanked him and took the seat across from him, the same seat Rachel was supposed to occupy. For a few minutes, they sat in silence while the waiter brought menus. Nathan assumed she would ignore him entirely, like most wealthy professionals might when seated with a random stranger. But Victoria surprised him. She noticed the untouched second glass of water and the obvious disappointment on Nathan's face. Without asking directly, she seemed to understand. There was something about her that felt observant, thoughtful. Eventually, she asked a simple question about his evening, and Nathan, though normally private, found himself explaining more than he expected. He told her about the date that never arrived, about raising Clara alone, about the quiet struggles of being both mother and father to a little girl who missed her mom every single day. Victoria listened carefully, not the way powerful people sometimes pretend to listen. She truly listened. As Nathan spoke, Victoria's expression softened. She asked about Clara, what she liked, what she dreamed of becoming. Nathan's face brightened slightly as he described his daughter's love for drawing animals and her dream of becoming a veterinarian. The conversation drifted naturally from there. For the first time that evening, Nathan forgot about being stood up. What he didn't know was that Victoria wasn't just making polite conversation. She had been watching him carefully. You see, Victoria had been searching for something very specific for months. Not a business partner, not an investor, but a person, someone trustworthy, someone compassionate, someone who understood responsibility and sacrifice. Her company had recently launched a foundation supporting children who lost parents to illness. She needed someone to help lead the community programs. Someone who truly understood families like those they wanted to help. Nathan had no idea that his quiet honesty was exactly what she had been hoping to find. When their meals arrived, Victoria finally revealed who she was. Nathan nearly dropped his fork when he realized the woman sitting across from him was the CEO he had seen in hospital newsletters and national articles. But Victoria didn't seem interested in talking about her success. Instead, she spoke about something else entirely. She told Nathan about the foundation, about the thousands of families struggling after losing loved ones, about how she needed someone who could connect with those families not through business strategy, but through empathy. Then she looked at him directly, and she made an offer, not a small one, a life-changing one. She offered Nathan a leadership position within the foundation, helping design programs for single parents and children dealing with loss. The role would pay far more than his hospital job, provide flexible hours, and allow him to spend more time with Clara. Nathan was stunned. Just hours earlier, he had walked into that restaurant feeling invisible and rejected. Now one of the most powerful women in the city was offering him an opportunity he never dreamed possible. Victoria explained that kindness, resilience, and responsibility couldn't be taught in business school. They came from lived experience. And Nathan had proven, simply by the way he talked about his daughter, that he possessed all three. Sometimes, she said, the best people for the biggest responsibilities are the ones who never expected to be chosen. Nathan sat there silently, trying to process everything. The rain outside continued to pour, but somehow the night felt completely different now. He accepted the offer. Not because of the money, not because of the prestige, but because the work would allow him to help families who understood the same pain his daughter carried every day, and because for the first time in years he felt like the world had finally opened a door instead of closing one. If this story is touching your heart so far, take a moment to write "Kindness Changes Lives" in the comments. It helps more people discover stories like this and reminds others that even small moments can transform someone's life. 6 months later, Nathan's life looked completely different. He worked alongside Victoria's foundation, helping families rebuild after unimaginable loss. He created mentorship programs for single parents, scholarship opportunities for children like Clara, and support groups that gave grieving families a place to heal. But the biggest change happened at home. Nathan was no longer exhausted and overwhelmed every evening. He had time to help Clara with her drawings, to attend her school events, and to remind her every day that even though life had taken something from them, it had not taken their future. One evening, as Nathan watched Clara proudly hang one of her animal drawings on the refrigerator, he thought back to that rainy night in the restaurant. The night a date never showed up, the night disappointment turned into destiny, and the night a stranger walked through the door with an offer he couldn't refuse. Sometimes life doesn't send the people we expect. Sometimes it sends the people we need. And sometimes the worst moment of an evening becomes the beginning of a completely new life. Before this story ends, if it touched your heart even a little, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe for more emotional stories like this. Your support keeps these meaningful stories alive. Because somewhere out there, someone sitting alone at a table tonight might just be one unexpected moment away from a miracle.